Hello everybody, it is January 21st, 2022. Public video here tonight, Friday night. So let's take a look at what I said on Monday, which was that Bitcoin rejected from the resistance zone I laid out from the prior Friday, and it looks quite likely we're moving into the heart of the third wave of the move down. Since we broke 41.7, I was expecting a big move downwards. The most likely targets for that was, somewhere around 38 or so, but I did say any of those targets could extend downwards. I'm not suggesting buying in that region, just kind of pointing it out as a landmark to watch, right? Regardless, we need to see a 5-wave impulse form off of the lows before we can declare a bottom to be in place with any confidence, right? So that was the update, and now we've seen this, of course, play out. So I'm going to start here on the daily. What we're looking at for this correction is a W, X, and Y. We've got W here, X here, and then Y can be anywhere in this giant green box. So we have entered that green box now with the move down today, or yesterday rather, right? We've entered that box, we hit the 764 fib, and conceivably it could be done at any point. The only way that I'm going to trust that it's done is if we see a 5-wave impulse up off the low, right? I have not seen that yet. We've got no indication yet that the bottom is in. Doesn't mean that it isn't, but we have no indication of it yet. So it is still very treacherous to try to buy here, okay? What we can do is go down to the micro chart, the hourly chart, and see if we have completion there, which may give us an idea. I still don't suggest buying even once we see that completion, because we can really continue downwards here quite low, right? We've got another, well, at this point it's only $8,000 worth, but we've got another $8,000 worth of downside potentially that we could see. And realistically, I would love to see that, because that would really make this clear. We would get rid of all of these lows here and give the bulls another chance to make a proper impulse up, which they failed to do in this area here. Which is why this whole way up I was warning, this doesn't look like it's a good way to start off the bull market. It doesn't look good, okay, because we had this ABC forming, right? And that turned out to be quite accurate. So anyway, let's go down to the hourly chart and see what we're dealing with. In the most recent move, like the most relevant move recently here, is this X to what we're hoping is Y. We're finishing off a Y move, right? So we want to see what's happening in here. Within that, we should see 5 waves, all right? And let me make this slightly larger, like that. So this blue count is what I'm viewing as the primary for that. We have our first and second wave right there. We had our first big dump down in the third wave right here. Fourth wave came up into this area, slightly higher than it should have, but we're dealing with it. And then fifth wave is what we're in right now. So we should be in the fifth wave of the Y. And once that fifth wave completes, we should be, the bulls should have a chance at that point to take control. Now they have to prove themselves, of course, but we can see the bulls take over at that point if they want to, right? Which I think is likely, but anything can happen. So we really want to wait for confirmation. All right. Now zooming in even further, since we have this move from 4 to 5 that we're dealing with, we want to see what's happening in there as well. And so we had this little micro 5-wave down here, and that's where I was saying, this is not looking great. Right here, that looks like a correction up, right? And so I viewed that as our 1, because that was 5 waves, and 2, because that was 3 waves. So we've got our 1, 2 down. And now all of this is part of our third wave. It is not a traditional third wave, that's for sure, but third waves are supposed to be very, very strong, and we are certainly looking strong here. So this is likely our 1 and 2 within the 3, right? And then this is the third within the 3, and we may even have a 4 and a 5 down still within this third wave. This is where it becomes a little bit unclear, right? Is this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all within the third wave and we're done. I'm not really sure. I'm going to view it as that for now. So I'm going to go ahead and move that 3 down there. And I was looking at this as potentially a 3-way move because that's maybe what we were seeing, but this has become quite unclear now with the largeness of this move. Kind of expected that, to be honest, though. I mean, as we take out these support levels, we're going to see lots of liquidations, lots of people giving up on crypto and stopping out. So seeing this really strong move isn't super shocking to me. But regardless, I believe that at best we've completed 3, and we still need to do 4 and 5 within 5 of y. Okay, so pretty much, unless this gives me a 5-wave move off the low to prove me wrong, I think we still have at least one more low. And potentially we still have a 4 and 5 before this is even done. But we'll just have to wait and see how we develop over the coming days. It would make sense to me during the weekend here, low liquidity, not much action happening. It would make sense for this to kind of drift upwards and give us like an A, B, C up in 4, and then Monday rolls around and we have another drop to start off the rest of the week. So targets for this are difficult because of how unclear the action has become in here. It's gotten really choppy, but I'm going to try to find targets anyway. Let's assume the third wave is done. If it extends downwards, we'll have to change this, but let's assume it's done for now with that move right there. We're going to draw a fib from there to 2. And so we get resistance, immediate resistance zone is likely right here for wave 4, if this is what it's doing. So anywhere from 37, call it 37K, up to 38.5, give or take. Anything within that region is likely going to be resistance. So if we move up there during the weekend, especially if it looks like 3 waves up, then we're likely going to see one more low. And that low has a quote-unquote normal target right here between 32.7 and 33.7. But I would not hold my breath for that to hold there necessarily. I could certainly see it going here and then extending, doing a spike down even to that 28.2 area before finally giving some relief. Okay, so this is just sort of like normal targets. I'm not suggesting that we buy here. We really need to wait for a 5-wave move to form off of the low and actually give us proof that the bulls are back, right? So if it can do this and then give us 5 waves, then fantastic, that's fine, right? But I'm just saying, we could certainly see a crash down even further than that, and then the 5-wave move up. Okay. Now, is there a scenario where all of this is wrong and we are going down further? Yes. Yes, there is. And that's the other reason that we need to wait for confirmation, right? If we crack below 25.2, then the entire structure of the bull market gets called into question, and the larger viewpoint, I believe we are still going to see one more high, but in the larger viewpoint, we could actually see a move down into the teens again before that happens. So basically, if we break below 25.2, I'm viewing, 15,000, 14,000, somewhere in that area as being highly possible. So again, wait for confirmation. And all of this, P.S., if you've been following me for at least a little while, I sold all of my crypto holdings, all of them, in this region up here when we did this correction up. Okay, I got rid of every damn thing, and I am quite happy because I saw this as a possibility. right? I saw this as a possibility. I said it's a lot better to get out right here and just take my cash and sit on it. Okay, I even picked up shorts there too. So I've been sitting in cash and sitting in shorts from right here. Obviously those shorts are well into profit now. Quite happy with those. And I'm still sitting on a good amount of cash now. As far as what's earmarked for crypto, I've got 100% in cash. Well, that's not true. I picked up something today. So I'm in 97% cash now. I put 3% back into the market today. Not into Bitcoin, mind you, onto an altcoin that I have been watching. So yeah, anyway, basically as long as we remain below, let's call it 39.4, 39.5, remain below 39.5, there is a very strong chance we're going down for one more low in the low 30Ks or potentially the high 20Ks if it does extend. And that's pretty much it. RSI being overbought obviously, doesn't really mean anything right now. It's due for a bounce of some sort, but it's been due for a bounce all the way through here. I mean, it's been bottomed out the entire time that we've been moving downwards. So certainly don't want to trade just based on this. If you had bought here when this first bottomed out, you would have been you're in a pretty hefty loss here already. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at, and we'll see what the weekend brings and go from there. All right, everybody, have a good weekend.